welcome back, and hello, my dear hookers. How are you this morning? This has been a journey. I have now finished 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll notice I have a stitch marker in here, and I'll tell you about that in just a sec. So have you noticed that? Let's just fold this in half so we can really see it. Have you noticed that your sides are starting to really come up and really looking like wings? My wonderful grandson Warren has decided to join us. I may have to pause you. Hello, Warren. You're okay, buddy? And anyway, so what has to happen here, okay, is that this round we're going to be doing an increase. Remember I said we're going to do 4 and then an increase? But because we've done some dipsy doodling from the actual original pattern to make it the way I want to make it, we are going to have to do an increase, but we've got to do a strange increase. So here's what's going to happen is, if you have followed along directly with me, okay, you're going to count, oops, I already started this row. Hang on one second. There we go. Okay, so here's my 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect. Now, with this one, I'm going to do my solitary crochet, double crochet, and then I'm going to do my granny square, or my granny cluster. I don't want to do an increase right in this stitch. I don't like it. But in order to have the exact same thing happen over on this side of the world, excuse me, I have to do some dipsy doodling at the back. Remember what I said about having the back kind of swoop down just a tiny, tiny little bit? I don't want a corner, but I do want some swooping action happening. Does that sound okay? Or am I sounding disgusting? I hope not. Okay, here we go. So here we're going to do a regular granny cluster. Then we're going to do an increase. We're going to do 2 granny clusters, then an increase. 2 granny clusters, then an increase. All the way to the middle, we're going to find that. Alrighty. But before we get to these 2, we're going to have to do 2 increases in a row. But again, because of the back, I'll show you how that's going to work. But because of the back, we're going to end up with an increase here and just a single granny cluster here. And then we're going to do 2 granny clusters, or 2 granny increases, granny cluster, and then we're going to go back to our pattern. Alrighty, so let's get going with this row. I will do this row almost in its entirety with you, okay, because it is a bit of a dipsy doodle row, okay? So up we go, and we're going to do the twist, and we're going to do our first single solitary double crochet, okay, and chain 1. Then we're going to do our granny cluster, regular granny cluster. 3, chain 1. Now we're going to do the increase. Okay, so we're just going to do a granny cluster. Oopsie. Granny cluster. Chain 1, granny cluster, all in that same chain 1 space. Chain 1 again, do 2 regular granny clusters. So there's 1. And chain 1, find our next chain 1 space and do another granny cluster. Hey, Warren. Okay, now we've done 2, so now we're going to do an increase. Okay. 1, 2, 3, oopsie, chain 1, and 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now you've got the pattern, 2 grannies, and then an increase, 2 granny clusters, and then an increase. So I will meet you back at the granny cluster increase before the middle. All right, so I'll be right back. All righty, so forgive me, we have a giggling boy and a happy puppy in here. So if you're following along with me, you have your beginning solitary double crochet, granny stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 increases before we get to the center of your shawl, okay? And what this is also designed to do is, again, for those of us who have broad grandma shoulders, okay, this is designed to allow for the shawl to come over the shoulders and actually still be cozy without pulling up at the back, okay? So now we've got that last, Penny, we've got that last space before the middle. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3, our granny cluster. And now I'm just going to take out my 2. Come on. And you'll notice that I actually put 2 single crochet bits together around the 1 because that was my center. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to do 2 increase sections here. So I'm going to do 1. Okay. How's everybody doing? And now I want to do a second increase here. And again, what that's going to do is it's going to give lots of flowy bits around the back while still letting us pull this right around our shoulders into the front. And you're really going to start noticing this the bigger this gets. Okay. So we've got our 2 increases, but we want to make sure that this side is exactly the same as this side. So here is the 1 single solitary granny cluster. This is the only time we're going to, well, this in the very end. It's the only time we're going to do this. So there's 1. And now we're going to do an increase again. Okay. So we're going to do 2 granny clusters in the same stitch. Okay. There we are. Now you can go back to doing your regular pattern. Oops. Oh, I need one more. There we go. Okay, so there's my middle. Bloop. Oh, I missed a stitch there. Look what happens when you're not paying attention. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's fix that, shall we? While I'm here, I might as well. If I was, another couple of rows down, I would say, forget it. I don't really care. But I kind of care when I'm already here. Okay, so I'm going to do my granny cluster. And now I'm going to do my granny increase. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, oops, chain 1, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so let's do that again. We have our, oops, there we go. We have our 2 increases that are going to fall at the center of the back. And what you're going to find eventually, because we are going to have to do this a couple more times, you're going to find eventually that this kind of really, really dips nicely until you put it on. And then it kind of comes back up. Because what's going to happen is if I pull this straight, okay, what's going to happen is we've got all of this scrunchiness going on back here. Whoops, there we go. All this scrunchiness coming on back here. And that's what I want to have happen, because when we pull it around our shoulders, I want it to be nice and tidy. Maybe with a little bit of flowy bit, but not a lot. Okay, so we'll finish this round with our regularly scheduled program of 2 granny clusters. So 1, and then move to the next chain 1 space, 2, and then we're going to do an increase. Okay, then we're going to do an increase in the next one. Perfect. So now go along with this until you get to the end of this row, and then I will meet back up to you after you do your last increase, which should be 1 away from your end. I'll be right back. Okay, how did everybody do on this? Did we get to the end with our increase and then 1 last space and then room for our, Oh, goodness, look what I did. Oh, no, I did it right. And then one last space. So I'm going to chain one. Oopsie. I'm going to do my single granny cluster. And then I'm going to chain one again and do my last solitary, just like at the beginning, my solitary double crochet. There we go. So this is our, potentially, this could be everybody's, again, depending on how long, what kind of yarn you're using, this potentially could be the last increase yarn, or increase round, because at this point, we are at 12. If you're using the same yarn as I am, we are at 12 full inches. Okay. Now, if you're using this as a capelet, the next rounds might very well be your last rounds, because each round, again, if you are using the same yarn as I am, your each round is about not quite an inch. So we're looking at about 3/4 of an inch. So at 5 rounds now, because we're going to do 5 rounds of regular granny cluster rounds. And I've made a mess of my measuring tape. There we go. So instead of doing 4 like we did last time, we are going to do 5. So if we measure that, okay, 5 more rounds will take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's another 3 inches. At that point, it's going to be 15 inches. For those of you wanting to do a capelet rather than a full-on shawl, okay, that's more than fine. You can leave it there. I'm going to do one last round of increase after this, and then that's where I'll stop after I do the regular rounds. Okay, so if you're interested, come on back to see me after 5 full rounds of just regular granny squares or granny clusters, okay? And don't forget, you've got to do, each row has to be opposite from the row before. So this row, I'm going to put my yarn or my hook in, and I'm going to pull up, do the twist. I'm going to do my first double crochet of the granny cluster in here, 2, 3, and my second 2 to complete my granny cluster in here. Okay, that was just a little reminder of what we've been doing all along. So again, we've got this nice neat edge. Excuse me. We've got this nice neat edge going on here. We are going to do 5 full rows, okay, of this granny cluster now, of the basic granny, no increases, basic granny cluster, 5 more rows. Now, realistically, that is going to take us to where a lot of you are going to finish. That is fine. I am going to do one more granny increase in a little short video the next time, and that is going to have 3 in between. But again, we're going to have to do a little dipsy doodle in the center, just like we did with this one. Okay, so we're going to get there together. We're going to get there. We're going to figure this all out. We're going to have a lovely shawl by the time this is over. Don't forget to put down in the comments whether you want to do just a collar. Okay, we can put a nice little Peter Pan collar on this to make it collar worthy, or we can put a hood on this. It is totally up to you lot. So you all let me know what you want. And as you can see, this is really starting to really nicely become a collared or a hooded, depending on what you want, a collared shawl. And you can see it comes along so nicely because we've got all that extra going on in the back. We now have it's not a full, but it will almost be a full circle, kind of, sort of, 3/4 circle by the time we're done. Okay, so please let me know whether you just want to put the collar on or whether you want to have the hood in the comments below. And remember that I love you all so much for subscribing to my channel. You all are so special to me. I truly appreciate you all. We are almost to 700. I'm so excited. We're only, I think this morning I was like 16 away from 700. So we're almost to where we can have a live. Yay! And I have some amazing yarns coming again from Jane that I promise you, once we hit 1,000, I will not open even one box. I promise you, when we get to 1,000, we will do a live unboxing. I can hardly wait. Some of this yarn will be as much as 30, 40, even 50 years old, and I can hardly wait. And then you'll have to let me know what you want me to do with some of it. But until the next part of the video, I shall bid you adieu. Welcome back, my dear hookers. So I have got my shawl as long as I want it. Well, as long as my yarn will allow. Let's just put it that way. And I did manage, hang on, I did manage to make it. How long is it? It is 24.5 inches. So look at me go. I actually had a lot more yarn than I thought I did. I wanted to get this absolutely done today. It is Sunday after morning, and I have been working on this literally nonstop. I promised one of you viewers that I would get this done. So I also promised myself that I would not chitty chat too much. So let's get to it. We are left with, this is literally all I have left. And the more I looked at this and the more I started to model it just a little bit, I kind of noticed that it lends itself really well to a collar. So I'm actually just going to leave it as a collar. But you know me, I can't just leave it like this. So I thought, in the interest of not necessarily plainness, but in the interest, can you guys all see that? There we go. In the interest of plainness, because this is just grays and blacks, it's very flattering when it's on because it does have that waviness, but I don't want to take away from it. So all I'm going to do is do a round of single crochet to finish this off. So literally all I'm going to do is go back over my work. Oh, fudge, I forgot to put one in. Oh, yeah, I did. I forgot to put one in this chain space. And so what we're going to do is, for this one, is we're just going to put a simple single crochet in each and every stitch, including the chain one spaces. Okay? So honestly, you know, this thing is just ever so pretty. When I get it up on my everybody who's at market with me will laugh when I say, when I get it up on my boobs, so everybody can see it. I really like how it flows. And I like the fact that you can tell that this is not built for somebody who's a size 00. Like so many of the patterns suggest that you do. So here I am. All I'm doing, I'm going to make this super, super quick. I'm just going along the bottom. Okay. And all I'm doing is a single crochet just to make it look finished. We are going to come up the sides, but when we get to the other corner, okay, when we get to the other corner, I'm going to come back and we're just going to do a very, very, very simple corner. Nothing too extravagant. This is a very simple shawl actually, and I want it to almost be understated in its elegance. And for those of you who are watching closely, I did make a couple of boo-boos and I had to fix them on this side. So yes, even us master so-called hookers do make mistakes all the time. So I will let you finish the single crochet all the way to the other side. I will catch up with you at the other bottom corner. All right. See you soon. Okay. I am just about to the end. Let's just move that down a little bit. And we're going to play a little game. I hate this game. Now, one of my daughter's favorite movies, there's a favorite phrase in that movie called "Let's play a game." And for those of us hookers out there, this is probably the most horrifying game that you've ever played. It's called Yarn Chicken. Is my yarn going to make it to the end or not? Now, I know for a fact it's not, but I'm also not too concerned because I do have this. But I wanted you to see what you can potentially do if you've only got, sorry everyone, if you've only got 1 or 2 stitches left. So when we get to at the end of my yarn, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to combat yarn chicken. Okay, so here I am at my very, very last stitch. Now, because I do want a nice clean corner that's not going to roll up or anything, what I am going to do is I'm going to do 1 single crochet in that very, very final stitch, chain 1, and 1 single crochet. What that's going to do is it's going to give a nice structured corner. It does make that, you know, a little bit of a bigger hole, but it's going to give a nice structured corner, okay, without rolling, okay? Now we're going to do the sides all the way around. I guess it's the sides, but I mean, it's the coming around the top of the shawl, all right? So all we're going to do is, excuse me, goodness, in each and every double crochet, we're going to do, and when I say that, there's that little bit there in some of them, and then there's the big bit. If you put 1 single crochet in there and, goodness, sorry, and another single crochet in the big bit, it kind of is a little bit more stable, all right? If you put 2 single crochets in here, there's a bit of a gap. So on this side, I will be putting 1 single crochet in that little bit there and 1 single crochet in the big gap, all right? And that's all we're going to do all the way along. But I know for a fact, as much as I don't want it to happen, I am going to run out of yarn. There is my end. And I know I'm going to run out of yarn. So what we're going to do is, okay, so I've got my little bit there. Now 1 in the big bit. We're going to play something called yarn chicken. And I am going to catch where I've changed my color. I am going to catch my yarns up so that that's 2 less ends that I have to work in, okay? And it doesn't make a huge lot of difference in the size of the single crochets, okay? It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And we're just going to keep going. And I can't look in the camera when I'm doing this part. There we go. And in the big bit now, I'm going to find that little bit. See that there? I'm going to put my hook through there and then do my single crochet. And then through the big bit. Excuse me. Sorry about that, everyone. All right, so here we go. I've got the big bit done. I'm going to find my little bit, my little hole there. And I'm going to make sure I've got my ends in. And as you can see, you can't really tell that I'm working in ends there. Not at all. Like, there's not a whole lot of difference in the, excuse me, in the depth of my single crochets. And it's fine because I made sure that I, worked everything in beautifully. And again, do not pull those tight because then you're going to get this bulginess or bulginess happening. We don't want that. So keep those ends fairly loose. I've got, I should probably just, where's my scissors? Have I lost them already? Goodness, what have I done? Oh, there they are. Put them in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm just going to tuck away this long one. And then I've got another stitch marker for down the road. Alrighty, so find the little bit, right? And then do your single crochet. Find the big bit, do your single crochet. Now I'm coming to the end of my ends, all right? So I'm just going to make sure I keep catching them. Easier said than done, apparently. Keep catching them in there. And the big bit. The little bit. Catch your ends. And the big bit. I'm almost to the end of my yarn here. Now, for example, if I saw that coming and I knew I only had to, for example, go to say here, and I know for a fact that there's the end, there's not enough to do all of that. What I can do, now obviously I'm not going to do it, but we'll just pretend I did. I can switch to a size 5.5 instead of a 6. I can switch to a size 5.5 hook. I can take out a couple of stitches, say back to here, and go, okay, I'll just switch to a size 5.5 hook. And that, it's surprising how much extra that gives you. The other thing that you can do is pull your stitches now I don't want to do that because I know I've got lots of yarn, but the other thing that you can do is pull those stitches super tight on the size you're using. Okay. And that will give you those extra few stitches you need to finish. I've had to do this. I can't count how many times I've had to do this. And even my mom, who is probably the most master of hookers, the master of hookers, even my mom, oh my goodness, even my mom has had to play yarn chicken. There's one memorable poncho that she actually made me out of Highland wool. Oh my goodness, that stuff is just amazing. Oh, and I'm at my end. Okay, so I'm going to grab my other ball here because I don't need a whole lot of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the single, drop, and then finish the single. Okay, and then I'm going to start the single with both and then drop the tail and finish my single. Okay, so what that's going to do is that's going to make sure you've caught, whoopsie, as I say that, I did not catch. There we go. Now you've caught your ends in there, and now you can just continue along with your ends. Oopsie. There we go. Some of those little holes are going to be a lot more difficult, especially if you finished your row ends too tight, or did your initial standing double crochet too tight. What this is, okay, and again, I could use this as a base for another portion if I wanted to do some V-stitches, if I want to do some shells, and I really, really, really did think about doing some shells. But again, this is just so simple, and with the collar that it kind of lends itself to, and I'll show you how that works. I actually brought my dressmaker's dummy in here. I call it my boobs, my good boobs, not my table boobs. And I'll show you how this lends itself so nicely to its own collar, just from the increases that we did at the beginning here. Okay, so I'm going to take you past the center. There we go. And I'm going to leave you to do the rest of this until you get to the other corner all on your own. Okay, so here I am. All I'm doing is just working in my ends. Not too concerned about it because I know that they're going to be worked in nicely. I'm just going to give them a tiny little bit of a tug to make sure that I've got them without any loopsy-doopsies or anything like that. There we go. Almost done. One more should do it. There we go. Okay, so those ends are worked in, and we're just about to our middle here where we're going to have to catch that other end. Okay, so let's just continue here, and then I will do the center with you to make sure we don't miss any stitches. And then, speaking of which, I almost missed a stitch. And then I will let you finish on your own, and we'll catch up at the end when we're all done. Okay, how'd everybody do? Are you liking this pattern? Thank you for helping me finish up this pattern. I really had a tough time writing this pattern down. And so I think now that, with everybody doing this pattern with me, and thank you so much, I think that it's time that I write this pattern down, and then we can go forward from there. All right, so here I am at my first, I guess, really, a double crochet. I don't want to do 2 in here. I want to go directly into the center. But now we're going to find, I almost lost my ball. We're going to find that we're going to have the big portion, okay, and then the little portion. So before we were doing the little portion, then the big portion, that's now reversed now that we've passed the middle. So we've got our center done, taken care of. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to do the big portion. I'm catching my yarn, and now I'm going to do that little hole. First the big hole, and now, as soon as I find it, there it is, and now the little hole. The big hole, and now the little hole. Okay, so there we are. So go ahead and finish that, and I will meet you back up where we started. See you soon. Alrighty, I am almost done. So I've done my little hole, so big hole, little hole, big hole, and I am back at my corner. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, and now I'm just going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. Do a quick chain and boom, pull through. Now I am finished. Now I know that I probably still got a few ends to do and stuff like that, but I thought that I would take you over to my dressmaker's dummy. Follow me. And we will put this on there. Sorry, you have to look at a box for a second. And there we go. Now you can see what I mean. Alrighty, so now my dressmaker's dummy is probably about a size, a nice solid size 4, maybe a size 6. But as you can see, and again, it's way too big for her. It fits perfectly on me, and I'm probably a 2, maybe 3X. Okay, some days I'm a 2 and some days I'm a 3. It depends on what holiday it is. But the other thing that you can do, okay, because I do absolutely love, and you can see, I'm just going to turn you, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave you like this. Sorry about my camera angles here. Not very good part of that yet. But as you can see, her waist is about here. This goes way past her waist. Now I'm just going to turn her around sideways here. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. So much stuff in my room. And as you can see, look at that back. That back comes down so nicely, right down mid-back. It's going to go right to the very top, maybe even a little further than the top of her butt. Okay? Now, obviously, as a mannequin, she doesn't have a butt. But, sorry, but look at how wavy that is. And this hasn't even been washed yet. So you can imagine how beautiful that's going to be when it's all washed up. Okay, there we go. Sorry about my boxes. Those of you who watched my short know that I just got a whole bunch of yarn and I haven't gone through it yet. But again, this hasn't been washed, so it's still got that manufacturer's crispiness about it. Not a big fan of that, but Red Heart does wash up beautifully. So there's our finished, maybe, our finished oversized shawl. But the other thing that I do like adding to my shawls are hidden pockets. Because let's be honest, our clothing, I'm wearing a longer skirt, or sort of a dress shirt, a shirt dress, and just some, I don't know, just some leggings. And none of my stuff has pockets in it. So I decided way back when that what I would do is if I have enough yarn left over and I think the yarn is strong enough to handle it, okay, I would put pockets in almost everything. If any of you are interested in learning how to do that, comments below, okay? Let me know if you want to make pockets in this. But again, here is, and again, it is not washed yet. I will show you how it looks so much nicer when it's washed. You can put a button in it right about here, just so that it stays where you want it to do. What else can we do here? You can use a brooch. Quite often, I've been given so many brooches because of what I do now. I have a plethora of them. I might just actually, for those of you who are interested, maybe I'll do a giveaway of some of my brooches. I don't know. Maybe on my first live, I'll figure out a giveaway to do. We'll have to see. But as of today, we are over 750 subscribers. So thank you, everyone. Here is our final, maybe, project. Everybody let me know. And I will leave this open for the next few days because it's only Sunday. So I have till Friday. I'd like to put it on my table. It's Canada Day on Friday. Well, technically it's not Canada Day, but you know what I mean. It's the Canada Day weekend. And we have so many campers up here that this one, I'm pretty sure, will be gone. So now pricing on this one here in Canada, because I'm in a smaller market, if I was in the city, I would probably put this up for a bit more. This realistically, going from beginning to end, took me about 4.5 days to finish. And that not counting the time that I took for filming and then, of course, life happening and stuff like that. But straight stitching time, this probably only took me about 4.5 days. And because this is leftover yarn from bigger projects that I've already made money from, if I really wanted to keep this nice, I would only charge about $60 for this. But I also know that my time is worth something and I'd like to replace the yarn. So I'm probably going to put this at $80. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to put a pretty brooch on it. It'll allow me to put a button on it if somebody wants a button instead. It will allow me to put pockets on it, which if you all want, you have to let me know. But if everybody wants to learn how to do pockets in shawls, I call them my hidden treasures. But there we are. So that is what it looks like before it is even washed. Look at that. Isn't that just so pretty? So I'm going to wash this. Yes, even before I put the pockets on, I will wash it just so that you all can see what it's going to look like washed. So there you are. That is the oversized granny, rounded granny poncho. Shawl, sorry. The oversized rounded granny shawl. Let me know what you think, and I hope you all had as much fun as I did making it. My name is Sherry, and I truly am addicted to yarn.